Welcome back to Global News, your go-to source for the biggest updates from the USA and across the globe. Today, we are counting down the top 10 most impactful news stories you need to know right now. Before we jump in, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you never miss a world update. Let's get started with number 10. Today, first news. Surge in violence. 5 Israeli Arabs killed in overnight shooting spree. Violent crime in Israel's Arab communities continues to escalate, reaching a critical point as 5 Israeli Arabs were shot to death within a single 12-hour period overnight. The wave of violence spans multiple locations across the country, leaving families in mourning and local leaders demanding immediate government intervention. Among the victims was the son of a former mayor in Rahat, emphasizing the indiscriminate nature of the current crisis. As of today, 44 Israeli Arabs have been killed as a result of the continuing violent crime in Arab communities since the start of the year. This figure highlights a disturbing trend that shows no signs of slowing. Throughout the past half-day, Magen David Adom teams have been called to numerous shooting incidents across the country, resulting in the deaths of 5 men. Police investigations into the various scenes are ongoing, but the atmosphere remains tense as the community grapples with a lack of personal security and rising homicide rate. Next news, Republican lawmaker introduces Exile Act to abolish H-1B visa program. Amid President Donald Trump's intensified anti-immigration push, Florida Republican Representative Greg Steube has introduced the Ending Exploitative Imported Labor Exemptions (EXILE) Act in the U.S. Congress. The legislation seeks to amend the Immigration and Nationality Act by effectively terminating the H-1B visa program, reducing the annual visa cap to 0 starting in fiscal year 2027. Steube argues that the program undermines American interests by prioritizing foreign labor over domestic workers, claiming it has led to the displacement of U.S. professionals in sectors ranging from technology and healthcare to logistics. The H-1B program, currently capped at 85,000 visas annually, is a primary pathway for skilled foreign workers, with over 80% of recipients being Indian or Chinese nationals. This legislative move follows a series of aggressive administrative actions by the Trump administration, including the implementation of a $100,000 fee for new H-1B petitions and the replacement of the traditional lottery system with a wage-based selection process. While critics warn the bill could stifle innovation and talent recruitment, proponents maintain that the Exile Act is essential to protecting the American dream for citizens and ensuring corporations prioritize the local workforce. Next news, Europe faces strategic reckoning amid shifting U.S. alliances and Russian aggression. Europe and Western liberal democracies face a critical reckoning this week at the Munich Security Conference, as leaders weigh the necessity of forging a defense capacity independent of an increasingly hostile United States. The summit comes a year after U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance signaled a shift in American priorities, warning that Europe's primary threat was an enemy within rather than Russian or Chinese aggression. This rhetoric, often echoing Kremlin-aligned narratives, has forced European powers to reconsider their long-standing reliance on the American security umbrella, while Moscow continues to utilize sabotage, drone surveillance, and disinformation campaigns to destabilize the continent. The geopolitical landscape has been further complicated by the Trump administration's alignment with anti-European, pro-Moscow factions in Slovakia and Hungary. Under the ruling Fidesz party, Hungary's media landscape has seen a drastic shift, with the government estimated to directly or indirectly control roughly 80% of the country's media. Hungarians' trust in news is amongst the lowest in Europe. Between 2010 and 2025, Hungary's ranking in Reporters Without Borders World Press Freedom Index fell from 23rd to 68th out of 180 countries measured, leaving it among the lowest-ranked member states in the EU. This internal fragmentation, combined with US threats against NATO allies like Denmark, has accelerated calls for a superpower Europe. Despite possessing more tanks, artillery, and aircraft than the US on paper, European nations have struggled with the political will to integrate their defenses. A recent report from the Tony Blair Institute, co-authored by former UK Defence Chief Sir Nick Carter, argues that Europe has the economic weight and technological base to act as a serious security power, but has suffered from decades of strategic complacency. As the war in Ukraine enters its 4th year, the crossroads in Munich may determine if Europe can finally transition from a dependent ally to a self-sufficient military force capable of containing Russian expansionism without American assistance. Next news, violence disrupts voting in Munshiganj amid Bangladesh general elections. A crude bomb explosion rocked a polling center in Munshiganj on Thursday, triggering a brief disruption in voting and heightening tensions as Bangladesh's 13th national parliamentary election continues across the country. The blast occurred mid-morning at the Makati Gurucharan High School polling station in Mulakandi Union, drawing a rapid response from law enforcement. While no casualties were confirmed from the initial explosion, Officer in charge MD Mominul Islam of Munshiganj Sadar Police Station reported a chase and counter-chase involving supporters of BNP-backed candidate MD Kamrudzaman Ratan and independent candidate Mohyuddin. The disruption caused panic among voters, with eyewitnesses reporting as many as 12 detonations outside the center, leading to a temporary 15-minute suspension of ballots. Despite the unrest, Sadar Upazila Nirbahi officer Masudur Rahman characterized the event as a minor incident and confirmed that voting had resumed shortly after security forces, including the Bangladesh Army, reinforced the site. This incident is part of a broader pattern of election day violence, including a separate blast in Gopalganj that injured security personnel and a teenager, underscoring the challenges of the nation's first major democratic test since the 2024 uprising. Next news: massive sinkhole swallows Shanghai roadway near metro construction. Security cameras in Shanghai have captured the dramatic moment a major road collapsed into a massive sinkhole on Wednesday, February 11, 2026. The footage shows a significant section of the carriageway at the junction of Kishan Road and Lian Road in the Minhang district suddenly caving in, leaving behind a deep crater and causing damage to nearby structures. Local authorities confirmed that while the collapse was sudden and extensive, there were no reported fatalities or injuries. The area was immediately cordoned off, and both major roads remain closed to all vehicular and pedestrian traffic as emergency teams assess the stability of the surrounding ground. Preliminary investigations suggest the collapse was triggered by a technical failure at a nearby construction site for the new Xiamen metro line. Social media reports and local witnesses indicated a potential leak at the Kixin Road station site, which may have washed away the foundation beneath the asphalt. Shanghai is notoriously susceptible to land subsidence due to its soft alluvial soil and thin sand layers. This latest incident, occurring amidst ongoing underground works, has renewed urgent concerns regarding infrastructure safety and urban planning in the densely populated megacity. Next news: Dutch court orders formal probe into China-owned chipmaker Nexperia. A Dutch court has ordered a formal investigation into the semiconductor manufacturer Nexperia, citing significant doubts regarding the company's internal policies and conduct. The Enterprise Chamber of the Amsterdam Court of Appeal upheld the suspension of Nexperia's Chinese CEO Zhang Shuizheng after finding that conflicts of interest were handled without due care. The ruling suggests that the director may have altered company strategy without consultation to evade sanctions, while simultaneously restricting the powers of European managers. This probe, which could exceed 6 months, aims to determine if definitive measures are required to address systemic mismanagement. The investigation follows a period of intense geopolitical friction that saw the Dutch government briefly seize control of the firm over national security concerns. The dispute previously triggered a global supply chain crisis when Beijing temporarily blocked chip exports, forcing major automakers like Honda and Mercedes-Benz to halt production. Although the Dutch government recently relinquished control as a gesture of goodwill, the court emphasized that a formal inquiry is necessary to restore internal stability. Nexperia, a former Philips spin-off acquired by China's Wingtech in 2018, remains a focal point of Western efforts to safeguard critical semiconductor technology. Next news: Vietnam's To Lam set for historic Washington visit to join Trump's Board of Peace. Vietnam's top leader To Lam plans to travel to the United States next week to attend the inaugural meeting of the Board of Peace, the initiative launched by US President Donald Trump to address global conflicts, according to 2 people briefed on the matter and a document reviewed by Reuters. The visit, scheduled around the board's first working meeting on February 19 in Washington, marks Lam's first trip to the US since his confirmation in January as the General Secretary of Vietnam's ruling Communist Party. The Board of Peace, established as part of Trump's broader strategy to oversee Gaza's reconstruction and global peacekeeping, has already secured Vietnam as a founding member state. The high-stakes diplomatic mission comes at a delicate time for bilateral relations, as Vietnam and the US continue to negotiate a trade deal following Washington's imposition of 20% tariffs on Vietnamese goods last August. Sources suggest the visit could include significant announcements on aviation-related commercial agreements, potentially easing economic friction. In its acceptance letter sent to the White House, Hanoi emphasized that, quote, Vietnam believes that the establishment of the Board of Peace is a necessary step in implementing the Gaza Strip peace plan. While the Vietnamese Foreign Ministry has not yet officially commented, the trip is viewed as a pivotal moment for the comprehensive strategic partnership between the two nations. Next news: Iberian Peninsula battles destructive storms as atmospheric river triggers high alerts. Swathes of Spain and Portugal remain on high alert as heavy rain and violent winds continue to batter the Iberian Peninsula, causing widespread infrastructure damage and multiple injuries. In northeastern Spain, authorities reported at least 5 injuries in Catalonia, including one person in serious condition after being struck by a falling tree. The region has suspended schools and restricted non-essential services as wind gusts exceeding 105 km per hour disrupt road and rail networks. At Barcelona's El Prat airport, at least 40 flights have been cancelled, with officials warning of further delays as Storm Nils, the 8th major storm this year, brings waves reaching 9 meters to northern coastal regions. In Portugal, the situation is equally critical after an atmospheric river phenomenon triggered massive flooding, forcing the evacuation of approximately 3,000 residents in the north. A significant section of the A1 motorway near Coimbra collapsed overnight following a levee breach, with Infrastructure Minister Miguel Pinto Luz stating that repairs will likely take weeks. While Storm Oriana is expected to bring further rainfall through Friday, civil protection services report that water levels in Coimbra have stabilized. Authorities across both nations continue to urge citizens to avoid unnecessary travel and stay indoors, as emergency teams work to clear debris and restore essential transport links. Next news: Trump administration fires New York U.S. attorney hours after appointment. In a dramatic assertion of executive authority, the Trump administration abruptly fired Donald Kinsella, the newly appointed U.S. attorney for the Northern District of New York, just hours after he was sworn into office on Wednesday. Kinsella, a 79-year-old veteran prosecutor, had been appointed by a panel of federal judges to fill a leadership void, only to receive a termination email from the White House Personnel Office shortly after his virtual swearing-in ceremony. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche defended the move on social media, citing Article 2 of the Constitution and stating, "Judges don't pick U.S. attorneys, POTUS does." The firing is the latest flashpoint in a prolonged legal battle over the district's leadership. Kinsella was chosen by the court to replace John A. Sarcone III, a Trump appointee whose interim term was recently ruled to have expired by a federal judge. While Sarcone remains at the Department of Justice as a special attorney appointed by Attorney General Pam Bondi, the administration's swift removal of Kinsella underscores its commitment to maintaining direct control over federal prosecutor appointments. Kinsella, who previously served as the office's criminal division chief, indicated he is consulting with judges to determine if the administration's dismissal. Next news: WhatsApp faces total blockade in Russia. WhatsApp, the Meta-owned messaging giant, has accused Russian authorities of attempting to fully block its services to force users toward a state-owned application. The company alleged that this shift is intended to drive over 100 million users toward a platform used for surveillance, calling the move a backward step for private and secure communication. On Thursday, several WhatsApp-associated domain names disappeared from Russia's national register, rendering the app accessible only via VPN. While Roskomnadzor has previously restricted features like phone calls, citing non-compliance with anti-terror laws, the Kremlin suggests a total ban is likely unless Meta aligns with Russian legislation. Critics argue the state-backed alternative, Max, is designed for tracking, though officials maintain it simply improves citizen services.